No, we are talking about Kaho's experience in Sungai Jongkak. So apparently it's a place where he went on last weekend, obstacle courses, flying foxes and stuff like that.
Sungai Jongkak, where's that?
It's actually located in Hulu Langat. If you like those outdoor places, very camping, like river streams, yeah, then you love that place.
Wow, sounds cool.
Yeah.
Okay. She'll make a trip next time.
I didn't realize I didn't been there for 30 years really. Last time used to be more raw. We used to go there for camping, but now it's definitely a lot more developed. So we went to this place called Skytrax. Very nice place.
Skytrax also. Wow.
Yeah, get to do all these flying fox, obstacle course, almost like 10 meters up in in the trees, like a monkey.
Oh, sounds cool. Sounds cool.
Yeah.
I think Malaysia is a very good place for that. We have so many trees, and if this kind of like develop, I think I think it will be an attraction for most of the tourists as well, not just us Malaysians. Still 2 minutes to go.
Yep.
Have we asked anything to the audience?
Not yet. So
okay.
So you want to do the honors?
Okay, let me think of something. This is about OPR increase, right? So how many of you have mortgages and your mortgage increase? So type yes. If no, type 0. If yes, probably you have 2 mortgages, you type 2, or you have more than that, you can type whatever numbers is that. Okay. All my mortgages are affected. Like
Yep.
I think according to our estimation is that for the past 1 to 2 years, the OPR has increased for more than I think slightly more than 1%, if not mistaken. Yep. So 1%, if I have 1 million outstanding loan, then there will be 10,000 extra you have to pay for a year. 10,000 extra, 10,000 ringgit. So if you have 2 million, that's 20,000 extra. Okay. So my family have more than that. So this cannot say the numbers, but definitely 5 figures more.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's 11, so maybe we can start the webinar session.
Yep. Let's do that.
Okay. So Kaho, I believe that you're ready. So give me 2 minutes. I'll just introduce you to the crowd and then we can get the webinar started. So here we go, guys. 3, 2, 1. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the 1-hour live webinar session brought to you by kclaw.com. As you can see on the screen, we have 2 gentlemen that is joining me for this webinar. The first one is our external speaker. He's none other than Kaho. So Kaho is actually the founder of J Advisory. He's a financial planner, and his specialty is actually to help people to actually relieve their financial burden when it comes to debt issues. All right, so that's why we get him here to actually talk about debt issues, interest rates, and whatnot. All right, which will be the focus of this webinar session. So as for KC Lau, my boss, he will be joining in as an active panelist for this webinar session. So guys, there are 2 house rules to adhere to when it comes to this webinar session. Number 1, if you have any comments along the way, just put your comments in the chat box, like what you did just now. And if you have any questions along the way, please feel free to post your questions in the Q&A box. So at the end of this session, I will be moderating the Q&A session, okay, right after this webinar. So guys, without further ado, I'm going to just pass the control to Kaho. So Kaho, all yours, man. Welcome back to the show.
Yes, thank you very much for the opportunity to be on kclaw.com again after 2 months. I think the last time we had was in May. And I actually reached out to KC because especially during May, the time when the OPR increased, right? So I did a session for my J Advisory community because I know a lot of people who are struggling as a result of the increasing of the interest rate. So that's why just now I saw in the comment, right? I think the highest number is 5, 5 mortgages. So of course I put 16 because I think for those of you who seeing me more than one time, right, you've probably heard my story how I actually screw up by buying 16 property in 3 months. So definitely I feel the pain, right? That's why I wanted to do this session. And I reached out to Casey and he said that, you know what, why don't you come and share on our weekly Tuesday session, which I'm very honored. Thank you very much, Casey, for inviting me again. Because today I actually got a lot of things to share. I know typically we have 1 hour, right? But I just wanted to ask, is it okay if we take up more than that?
It should be okay lah. I mean, a little more than that will be fine.
Yeah, no problem at all. Let's do that.
Yeah, then I also wanted to ask the audience, is it okay? Because I really realized that this is one of the main knowledge that every person, not only in Malaysia, but I realized that easily 80% of Malaysians don't know about this, which I wanted to help sort of elevate everyone's IQ, right? Yeah, so thank you very much. So let me just share my screen now. Then, yeah. So, like I said, one of the reasons why I wanted to do this session was because I had 16 property. I bought a 16 property in 3 months. That was my claim to fame. But I actually share a lot of the humility and the humbleness over the last 3 years, ever since I started J Advisory. So one of the incident, so how I got into the situation was because I was very, I know my financial freedom number, I was doing very well, right? So together with my JV partners, we bought 16 property through many different forms, right? Some through my personal name, some through joint name, some through JV partnership, proxy, whatever you name it, we've done it before. But I think one of the biggest lesson that I learned is really doing the thing right, rather than doing the right thing first, right? Rather than doing the thing right. So in case if you're wondering, what do I mean, right? Doing the right thing is basically buying the right property, right? Doing the thing right is really to be able to do it efficiently, like how I bought 16 property. But unfortunately, I bought 16 property, which is the wrong one, right? So that's why I wanted to share here is that, Casey, I actually managed, over the last 3 years, right, I've been actually trying to sell a lot of my property. And one of the property I managed to sell, I think during COVID, which I was quite lucky. It took me 2 years. Even today, you still haven't completed the transaction yet. That means the person already say that they want to sell, they want to buy already the property. There's a shop lot in Ipoh, right? So for those of you, I just wanted to ask, right, just to check with everyone, right? How many of you actually feel happy when the OPR increase? Type 1 in the chat. How many of you feel the stress like me? Type 2 in the chat. Right? Because for me, I felt the full force of the 5-time decrease. Of course, the time we all enjoy the 4 times decrease interest rate, right? But then eventually, I felt the full brunt of that 5 times increase, right, over the last 2 years. So I really felt, the pain, right? So those of you who type 1, that means you feel happy one. That means to say that you have a lot of money in the FD, you enjoying the increasing interest rate, and you benefit from it. For those of you who feel the pain like me, right? So definitely, you can start to see, besides the food prices increasing, right? Then our installment on our housing loan also increased. Pain plus inflation. So it's like painflation. So just to share a bit of the let's say if you are also like me, experience that full 5 times OPR increase, right? You probably realize that that 1%, every 1% increase in interest rate results in almost about 286 per month increase in the installment. If your loan is a 500,000 loan, right, with a 35-year loan tenure, to many of us, 286 may not seem a lot, right? especially when it increased like 25 basis point, that one is like maybe 50 ringgit, that one don't feel much. But when you look at the whole thing, 286 is a lot more painful. Right. So that's why I wanted to share today's topic, right? Is three things are basically my promise at the end of today is actually this particular theme that I wanted to share, because I realized a lot of people look at interest rate, but actually low interest rate may not be low interest, right? So yeah, so I wanted to share that by the end of today's session, right, I want to share with you this case study which I helped Jason, right, to overcome. Jason are quite similar like many of us who went through this interest rate hike, right? He I don't know why he didn't see me for many years, right? He know me for a long time already. But I think maybe because of the pain, right, that he finally felt, right, when his situation was in a deficit, right? Then he feel the pain already, then he like, hey, Kaho, I need to talk to you. I say, yeah, what's up? Yeah, so by the end of today, right, I'm going to share with you that step-by-step process of how we actually help Jason to free up 1,000 per month installment and save another 1,000 in interest. Then I also share with you why low interest rate is not low interest, right? And hopefully, if you have time, right, then I'll share with you also. We're going to play a little game, and also share with you exactly how do you identify, because some of you here may already know that low interest rate is not low interest, right? But some of you may still have the challenge of how to identify when you're actually applying for the loan, because I notice many people don't really, they just look at interest rate. Correct? Type 1 if you agree. Oh. What do you think, Casey, Ian? Is that what your experience as well?
Not so much on my part because maybe because long time didn't actually have too much experience of applying for loans except for mortgages. So I guess Casey leh, what do you think?
I didn't get the question. Is it like what when we apply loan we look at?
Yeah, I think the question
interest,
is, do you have experience that a lot of people that you speak to, when they apply loan, they just purely look at the interest rate low, then they're going to apply already?
I don't know. The loan should be a lot of consideration, right? So interest rate, of course, is one of it, and also the loan amount, right? And then how much can you borrow? I think a lot of consideration as well, like your commitment also. Of course, interest rate when low is, of course, it helps a lot.
For sure. Yeah. So it's just that it dawned on me that a lot of people just look at the interest rate, which is low, then they assume that it's low interest, right? So that's why I wanted to debunk this myth, right? Okay, let me just continue. So this one I share with you guys already, my story, how I bought a 16 property in 3 months. I just wanted to give everyone the context. Oh, by the way, how many of you actually, if you don't mind, seeing me for the first time, type 1 into the chat. If you've seen me more than one time, really type 2 into the chat. Oh, okay. So there's a lot of new people also. Yeah. Thank you for the introduction that Ian have done. Is it okay I just do a quick 5 minutes so that at least everyone knows the context of this, right? So I think I benefited, or many people also benefited from being able to share all this case study on kclau.com. So one of the lady that actually, what I realized my superpower over the last 3 years is that my superpower here is really to help people to free up the cash flow, right? So one of the lady that actually, probably like you guys are listening in the audience, right, actually reached out to me. She had this deficit of 5,000, which through later what I'm going to share with you, the 6 steps, right? We help her to overcome this situation of having 11,000 per month commitment in loans to basically free up almost 9,000 so that she can have about 2,000 per month savings, right? So after you guys go through this, I believe that you also know the secret of how to do it. Would you guys like to know? If you like to know, type secret. The other superpower that I realized I have is I actually very good at helping people restructure their insurance policy. by helping them to minimize the insurance premium that they pay and also maximize their coverage. So like Joseph over here managed to save 3,004, and also like BK managed to save about 5,000 too. So as a result, right, we managed to help people free up the cash flow that allows them to invest and move forward in life to hit their retirement. So like BK bought his property, like Simon increased his net worth by 25%. And also this story which I shared in, or not this story, the earlier story I shared in kclau.com, how Jared managed to 4 times his wealth within 2 years' time. So all this actually as a result of those students that came in to manage to free up their cash flow so that they can move forward and invest. That's how they actually get the result, right? So that's why today I wanted to share on Jason's situation, because for many of you, can you see that actually Jason, right, probably not probably lah. How many of you feel the pain also when you see Jason's situation, having 55% of his 6,002 income, all in loans? If you feel painful also, you type pain, right? Although his deficit is 60, not too bad, I think many of us feel, okay, 60 not too bad, but it's an alarm already, right? But when you look and we dive deep into his situation, you see that his almost 55% is in loans repayment. So actually, Jason is a managerial position. He's a very good investor. It's just that I'm also curious why he didn't come to me earlier to resolve his situation. But I think from the right-hand side, you notice, right, after when he applied what I'm going to share with you, not only he free up his repayment on the loans, but he managed to increase his savings, right? And he has a surplus of almost 949, almost 1,000. Yeah. So I'm going to share with you this 6-step process, which I share in my newsletter and also share on social media, right? The first step is really to find out, okay, are you guys ready for the 6-step process? Type ready if you're in the chat if you're ready. Okay, so the 6-step process, right, is really to find out where the problem is, where the root cause of the problem is, right? So we actually have this financial compass tool to help individuals to identify where the problem is. And we actually have this ice jar free class that we have on our website, right? That helps you to identify and zoom in where the problem is, right? So is it okay? I just check with the audience. How many of you actually gone through our ice jar module? Type 1 if you've gone through. Type 2 if you haven't gone through yet. Okay, many haven't. Okay, good. Oh, Connie have done it already. Awesome. So our ice jar is basically I call it the world's simplest money management system, is because when I started teaching my kids when they were at 3, right, they also can do it. So I believe many of us also can do it because of the simplicity, right? So how do you do this is basically, right, if you haven't gone through our ice jar module, it's basically take your gross income, right, divide by 3 parts. So you get 2,000, 2,000, 2,000, right? And then subsequently, this will be our benchmark of how much you need to save, how much you need to commit, and how much you need to spend. So you know how our parents always tell us to save for the rainy days. It's just that they never tell us how much to save, right? So by using this benchmark, then we'll be able to have that benchmark. So if you notice that E and F, right, is actually what we call the investment saving jar. So over here you see 1470. So basically you just take 2077 minus 1470. Right? From there, basically we will get a positive number. If it's a positive number, means to say we are under investing. If it's a negative number, means you're over investing, right? If you guys can do me a favor, can you help me to calculate how much is 2077 minus 1470? Since you're all here, right, I'm sure you all want to have some fun and also learn something. Later, we also give you some free gift, right? For those of you who participate actively. 2077. Yeah, so it's 607. Do you get the same number? 607? So basically means to say that Jason here is under investing, under saving, right, by 607 ringgit, right? So naturally, you go on, we're using gross income, Fuzi, right? So if you go on to the next part, G and H, right, is actually our expenses jar. So obviously you take 2077 minus 898, right? Then you know it's also underspent, which is good. Jason is really somebody who's frugal. Earn 6,000, only spend 900 ringgit. Do you guys feel he's somebody frugal? Type yes if you feel. So if we take 2077 minus 898, right, what would the figure be? Can somebody help me? Then you know how much he is underspending, right? 2077 minus 898, 1179. Yeah, thanks, Wei Hua. Do you guys get the same number, 1179? Awesome, Tasu. Okay, so which means that he's underspending by 1,179. Okay, and the last one, right, which is I and J, if you look at the loan repayment and also the financial support, you notice that definitely it's more than 2,077. So when it's more, definitely you know he's overcommitting. So then we know where the problem is, right? So if you guys can help me to calculate, right, 2077 minus 3925, because you take 3425 plus 500. What is he overcommitting by? Yes, got Kim. Swat Kim, 1348. Do you get the same number? 1348. Okay, what you do is, okay, some of you get 1848, right? What you do here is you take where's my number? You take 2077 minus 3425 minus 500. You should get 1348 lah. Okay? So it will look something like this. Right? If you've done the step correctly, 1848 lah. How come you'll get 1848 lah?
Oh, the 500, if you include that in the financial support as a commitment, then it should be 1848.
Okay. So I need to touch up on my number lah. So you guys are right lah, 1848. Yeah, financial planners can get wrong. Just like doctors also get sick. Okay, so over here, right, then you know that the problem is in the commitment jar. So then we deal with the commitment jar. So give yourself a pat on the back, right? So you also know how to find out where the problem is really, right? So if we go into step 2, which is to zoom into the problem, one of the benefit of this financial compass is that when it allows you to go and zoom into the details of it, right? If you look at my screen on the right, when we zoom in, then you notice what makes up the 3425, sorry. It's really the credit card debts, the mortgage, and also the study loan, 3425. So naturally, we want to deal with the credit card debt because normally that is what we consider like a bad loan. A bad loan means to say any loan that doesn't contribute to your growth of your asset or your growth of your wealth, we call it a bad loan, right? So this is number one rule. You do not have credit card debts or personal loan if you can, possible, right? The other one will be the mortgage, right? And when we try to zoom into the deeper, right, to find out what does all this loan really mean, we use this other tool called a debt management template. So when we put Jason's situation into this debt management template, then you see that to zoom into the credit card, you see there will be 2 credit card here, right? Outstanding about 16,000, right? Installment is 1,005, right? Then we managed to see that he has also 2 housing loan, outstanding about 427,000, and then the installment is about 1,007. So I want you guys to help me out here. When we want to zoom into the problem, we want to find out what is that root cause, right? Which of these loans do you think is the most burdening loan to Jason? Type in the chat for me, please. Aeon Maybank, credit card. Yeah, credit card, but specifically which one? Yeah, please share with me. Thank you, John. He say Aeon Maybank. What about the rest of you guys? Maybank. Okay, tell me why. Why do you feel it's Maybank? Share with me why. Of course, this is very straightforward, right? High interest cost. Okay, you look at high interest. Some say housing loan. Okay, very good. Thank you for your participation. Definitely it's the credit card, right? But can you see there's this installment burden ratio here that I actually created? This basically helps us to identify what is the most burdening loan. And yeah, for those of you who answer Maybank, right? Yeah, I would share with you why. It's because when we calculate the installment burden ratio, right? The Maybank one is the highest, right? 10, and then the second one will be 8. So normally when we see something like this, we'll deal with these two, right? We'll deal with the highest one first. And you notice, guys, if you look at the housing loan, right? The housing loan is actually one of the lowest. Anything less than 1, actually we will say it's not too burdening. Right. So for those many of you who have that pinch on the housing loan because of the OPR, right? What you want to look into is not really the housing loan in case you guys got the credit card and personal loan, right? Because if you look at personal and credit card, the IBR is normally higher. And for those of you who wanted to know what is that formula of IBR, it's actually very simple. Anybody can do it. You just take the installment amount divided by the outstanding, right? So sometimes like this one is very clear very straightforward. You can see that it's Maybank, right? But sometimes when you have a lot, especially like people that we work with before, right? Sometimes it can be quite noisy, it can be quite confusing until when you start to put everything into this template and you can actually see the installment burden ratio. So for those of you who wants this for free, later you can go into our website, the e-resources page, and you can download it for free. All right. So far, is everyone okay? If you are okay, type F follow that you're okay, right? Awesome. So now that we know the problem already, right? Then the next step is to do this. Definitely we need to reduce the monthly installment, right? Then the question is, how do you reduce the monthly installment? So simple, man. Right? So the first question here is, if we were to reduce, definitely we want to reduce this amount because this is over by how much the commitment charge. Just now you calculated is 1848. So definitely you want to reduce 1848 if possible, ideal situation. But you notice our installment amount is only 1,500. Definitely you can't really reduce 1848 because your installment is 1,500. That's literally settling the loan, correct? No? So one of the things that we do, right, is we actually use this calculator, right? Which is our debt management template calculator. We try to work out something, right, to simulate how much is it possible to reduce now. So if let's say if I were to do a simulation here, just bear with me. So if you were to do a simulation here, right? Let's say we use an interest rate of 7%, and just now what was the outstanding loan? 16,000, right? 16,000. Yeah, you will notice that if you were to do if you were to lengthen the term of the loan, definitely your installment will reduce. You see, when you increase this, the tenure, let's say to 6 years, you notice the installment will decrease, but the interest will increase. I think this is a no-brainer, right? So naturally, if you want to reduce the installment, let's say the max for personal is 10 years, right? The max is that you can reduce is 184 ringgit and 70 cents, but the interest will naturally go up, right? But this is not what you want to do, Okay, let's assume we want to reduce the installment to the lowest. So we naturally will take a 10-year personal loan, 7%, right? Which naturally some people will start doing, but please don't do first, because you want to reduce your installment to the lowest. But the thing that you're giving up is the interest, right? It's still quite a high interest, 6,001. And how do I know that, right? is because the next step, right, is really to reduce the interest. This solution that I'm sharing with you and also Jason here, right, cannot work if you reduce the installment, but you give up in terms of the total interest that you're going to pay. It doesn't make sense. How many of you understand what I'm saying? Type you in the chat. Yeah. So the scenario or the criteria here has to be, you have to reduce the total installment and also reduce the total interest. So if you look back at Jason's case, right, we automatically calculated, when you key in everything in the debt management template, right, you automatically calculated the total interest rate, which is 2791. Mean to say, we have to reduce the installment to the point where we also still have interest savings, right? So that's how we actually got to this figure, right, of 36 months, assuming it's an interest rate of 7%. Okay, this is a hypothetical number. But can you see that the total interest is lesser than 2007, right? And the installment is also still significantly lower compared to initially he was paying 1,005, right? So this is how you actually can play around with the number, right? So if I were to do the simulation, right, 36 months, you will see 1,006 and 491. Some of you feel that 491 maybe is still too high, right? If you do 4 years, right, it's still okay because the installment is lower and the interest is also lower than what currently Jason is paying. Yeah. Right. So how many of you learning something today? Like me. Yeah, of course, for those of you who are very expert already, you can use the financial calculator. But how many of you think that the debt management template is something pretty cool? That you want it as a gift? Actually, last year, Casey, we actually gave this debt management template for all those subscribers from your community that came into our 3 days class somewhere in September last year. Yeah. So if you guys want this calculator also, type yes into the chat, then I'll share it into the chat for you guys to download it. Oh, cool. Okay, later I'll send during the Q&A. So the trick question come ready. So easy, man. It seems like, what Tahoe do very easy. But only once you understand this, right? So this is the part where I wanted to play a game. Let's play a game, shall we? Who's ready to play a game? Type me. In order for me to really download this concept to you, I think once you play this game already, right, then you really understand how is it so easy, right, that anybody can do it. I wish I learned this back in school. Yeah, because nobody actually taught me this in school. It's true, my struggle of the deficit of 5,000 per month that I learned this, right? That's why I'm quite lucky and grateful to be alive, to be able to share my story. Okay, I think Ian and Casey, you all cannot play because you're too expert already. Okay, so this game got 3 rounds. Okay, I'm gonna share with you guys the first round because it's very straightforward. Then you all start to play in round 2 and round 3, right? I want you guys to participate and type into the chat. Okay, so let me just explain. This game is just like guessing game. It's okay to guess it wrong here because we're all here to have fun. We're all here to learn. Is it better to make mistake here than to make mistake outside? Type yes, you agree. So that's why I said I wanted to share with you guys that over here is a safe room. That's why I want to thank Casey and Ian for doing this as well, so that we can actually share this message to a wider audience. So game 1, right? I want you guys to guess which interest is lower. Okay, between bank A and bank B, because of my financial difficulty, I need to take 100,000 loan for 10 years. Bank A offer a credit card interest at 18%. Bank B offer a credit card interest of 15%. So that's why I say this one is just for explanation because it's the no-brainer. Anybody can guess this, right? Right, definitely you all will guess bank B, right? Yeah, Bank B. Okay. Why? Because the interest rate is lower, so naturally we all will go for Bank B, 15% beats 18%. But in totality, what I want to share with you here is the total interest. Of course, Bank A is 180,000 because 18% 100,000 for 10 years. Installment will be 2,003. Bank B will be 150,000 for 10 years, and then obviously the installment will be lower. Okay, so I think you all get the idea of this game. So we're going to start already, round 2. Okay, round 2. So same 100,000, but which bank is offering a lower interest? Okay, for 10 years. Assuming Bank A give 4.5% housing loan, okay, and Bank B is 4.8. Okay, type into the chat. What is the answer between Bank A and Bank B? So naturally Bank A lah, right? But let's take it up a notch a bit lah. If I were to ask you what's the total interest for Bank A, anybody can help to calculate using a financial calculator. Hey, Posun, you're here. Okay, cool. Okay, 45,000. Okay, good guess. But because this one is a housing loan, so the calculation is slightly different. So the total interest for Bank A is actually 23,901. The installment is 1,032, right? And then housing loan B will be total interest 25,606. Installment is 1,046. So how do you calculate it? Is you use this calculator, right? Put a 120 here, 4.8%, 120,000. 120,000, 100,000. Okay, so it's about 1,032 and total interest 23,000. So there's a slight difference between this calculator that I'm going to share with you and the financial calculator that you're using. So this one is using the financial calculator because there's a difference between paying at the start of the month and the end of the month. So the interest will be slightly different, right? So this is assuming that you're paying at the start of the month. So, okay, everyone, okay? So naturally, this is also quite easy, round 2.
Rahul, I
Right.
think your number is correct because you are using the Bank B, you put 4.8%, right? So
This one, right? Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, thanks. But I also wanted to highlight because some of us using the financial calculator, you get a different number one. Okay, so for Bank A 4.5, then you will be this one, 4.5. Yeah, 1,032 and 23,901. So that's how you get it. So later when you download this calculator, you can use it for yourself as well. Okay, are you ready for round 3? Round 3, I give you one tip first. Round 3 is a trick question. Which interest is lower between Bank A and Bank B? Now I'm going to buy a car, okay? And I take 100,000 loan for 10 years. Bank A actually offer 5.9% because they're using the BLR minus 0.85. Then Bank B, they're using a car loan fixed rate 3.3%. Okay, now I want you all to guess. Which bank is offering lower interest? Okay, some say Bank B, some say Bank A. Bank A, Bank B, Bank B, Bank B. Yeah, I think a lot of Bank B, some Bank A. Are you all answering Bank A because I say it's a trick question? Maybe I counter reverse cycle a bit. Okay, quite mixed. I think in general, quite mixed, Ian. Yeah, but I think naturally, Ian, you're saying something.
Oh no, I'm just saying yeah. Nothing.
Thanks. Yeah, I think naturally most people will choose fixed rate because most of the time we're trained to look at just the interest rate, right? So, but I noticed this is one of the main reasons why I wanted to share today's topic. So if we look at the calculation, right, the 5.9 is because they're using a different calculation. right? The total interest is 31,973. Installment is 1,099. Bank B, fixed rate, the total interest is 33,000. Installment is 1,108 and 33 cents. So congratulations for those of you who guessed Bank A. You are right. For those of you who guessed Bank B, don't be dismayed. Right? Let me share with you the real reason. Are you confused? Who's confused? Type C. If you're confused now. C++, wow, this is a programming language that Virus. Yeah, so this is the reason why I say that 80% of the people will confuse, because we never been taught in school. We just been taught math, right? And I don't think it's a Malaysian problem only. I think it's like the entire world kind of problem now. The real reason why Bank B is higher is because it's a fixed rate, and why Bank A is lower is because it's using a reducing balance calculation, right? So why the tree game is different? Bank A is using reducing balance interest calculation. Bank B is using a fixed line interest calculation. So what do you mean by reducing balance interest calculation? It's basically like the housing loan, right? As you pay your loan, the interest get reduced over time, right? So the more you pay, the lesser interest you get charged, right? Reducing balance is like this. But for fixed line, right? Fixed line is like the personal loan, like credit card, right? They charge your interest upfront. That means when you start having the loan, they already calculate the interest. So no matter how much you pay, you're actually paying a fixed amount of interest, right? So that's why I wanted to bring attention over here. In case you're wondering, like fixed loan interest calculation, what is that formula? That one is quite straightforward. You just basically take the loan, the yearly interest times number of years, right? Then divided by 12. I think most of you know how to calculate. But I think for the reducing balance interest calculation, right? That's where you need this kind of calculator or the financial calculator, right? Because you can see here, right? As you pay more, right, the interest reduces. Hence, that's why, going back to the point, why low interest rate is not equals to low interest. Yeah. How many of you can start to see some light? Like me in the chat. Awesome. For higher purchase, isn't Malaysian bank offer only FR? I say no, actually, Nicole. You'll be surprised that actually there are some financial institutions and some bank also offering reducing balance interest. Yeah. Okay, so later we'll leave those questions for Q&A Ian. Okay, so I think the bigger question right now, since we have some time, right? The bigger question here right now is then how do we identify? Because if you just purely look at the interest rate, right, then you cannot differentiate. Some of you also feel that if we can look at those floating rate, like the housing loan, because PLR minus, then possibly I will get a reducing balance. Actually, that one also not the best way to verify, because sometimes we do get confused. How do we verify is this. Okay, let me just share my screen. Okay, typically, let's use a personal loan because personal loan is the most confusing. Typically, when you want to look for a personal loan, what do? We go to Google, right? Mr. Google. Or some maybe now use ChatGPT. And normally we will go to this kind of comparison site like Ringgit Plus. So you notice all this personal loan here, right? Or you can see interest rate, 10-year, interest rate, 10-year. So profit, yeah. So you don't really know which one is which one. So I basically downloaded two personal loan just to show you the difference of how to verify, right? So just now we saw the top of the list, there is Alliance, right? And Alliance has always been known as one of the banks that do a lot of debt consolidation, right? So I wanted to share with you how do you read this? What you want to do is you want to download the product disclosure sheet. Okay, type PDS in the chat. This product disclosure sheet is one of the mandatory documents that Bank Negara require banks to share with customer. Okay, it's just that recently I noticed when I was doing for my community, not all banks provide the PDS on their site, right? Some maybe you have to talk to their loan officer, then you ask them for the PDS they have to give you, right? So for example, right, like Alliance, what I do to differentiate RBIC versus FLIC is I will use their illustration, right? And I will put it into, okay, for me, I use my financial calculator, but I realized that many people, we want to help them simplify this calculation. Then you can use this tool, right? You can put into this calculator. So you see here, 20,000. You see that the interest rate, the period is 60 months, and also the installment. So one of the things that I do is I do the same thing. I just take 60 months, I put in the interest rate, then I put in the outstanding loan amount. Can you see the installment here is 428 for RBIC? Right? If you guys can see, type 428. Okay. Because if you look back at the product disclosure sheet, right, you see the installment here is 513. So normally this will be a red flag that this is not a RBIC. So you see 513, most likely you do the other calculation, FLIC one, you notice you will get the exact 513 amount. Okay? Yeah, if you guys follow so far, type F into the chat so that I can show you another RBIC personal loan. Right? Because a lot of people also didn't know personal loan got RBIC. How many of you know that personal loan got RBIC? Type me. If you don't know, type X. Yeah, I think most of us also don't know. Okay, I also found out about 3 years back. Yeah, 3 years back. Okay, so one of the RBIC, okay, I'm not promoting them. I also don't have any affiliation. I don't get any commission out of this. But I found out this is one of the example, right, which is Bank Islam. Okay, so same thing. What I'll do is I will key in the 20,000 here. Okay, key in 5 years. Okay, can you see here? Is Kada Asas plus 2%. So Kada Asas over here, right, is 2.52. So what it means is 2.52 plus 2%. So that I'll key in here, 20,000. 2.52 plus 2% is 4.52, right? 4.52. So then I get 371.64. Okay, you guys can see 371.64. I want you to type 371.64 into the chat. Just to know that you're following. Okay, thank you very much. So if you go back to the PDF, right? You go to 20,000 5 years. Can you see here it's 373.04? So there's a slight difference. Okay, the slight difference is not because the calculation is wrong, but because this calculation, right? You notice at the bottom here. Where is it? Oh no, not bottom. Oh, okay, here. You say kadar pembiayaan dengan perlindungan takaful. That means they included some portion on the insurance coverage already, right? They factor in the calculation inside. So you take off the takaful coverage, most likely it will be correct But you can see the calculation is quite similar, quite close, although it's not exact. But yeah, you get what I'm trying to say. For those of you who understand, type you in the chat. So this is one way how you check. Same thing you can use for your car loan, right? If you're going to apply. Same thing for personal loan as well. So, yep. That's all I wanted to share with you. Later, we'll take some Q&A first, shall we? Casey, Ian, pass back to you before I share with them in case they want to learn how to find out where to download all the freebies and all those things.
Sure. Right. So, so once again, we'd like to thank Kaho for your generous sharing. I think it's now time for Q&A. And guys, if you have any questions that you want to ask, you may actually put your questions in the Q&A box and we will address them accordingly. So Casey, do you have any questions for Kaho?
No, not particularly for me. So maybe we leave the chance for the audience. There are hundreds of them. So yeah, if you have, I think this is the best time for you to ask the question because Gao is here and we are here. So you can just type in the Q&A box so that we can easily monitor it. Okay, so we got the first question already, right, Ian?
Yep. All right. So it's a question from Lee. So Lee would like to know, he would like to know about IHC. So investment holding company. So what about it?
Wow, very general question.
Uh-huh. Yeah, it is quite general. Maybe you want to type
Yeah.
in more specific what exactly you
You
want
know,
to know
you know,
about IHC.
IHC is basically investment holding company. I think he's probably curious about asking how to get more loans through IHC lah. I think in general, I just want to say that if you're not done it before, uh, it's a very good tool to get more loans. But after I done it already, is it advisable? If you're not buying the right property, then the answer is no lah. Yeah, because there are a lot of hidden costs, and most people are coming from the perspective of getting more loans. But if you're looking from a taxation point of view, or you're talking about wealth preservation, right? IHC also can be used for that purposes. But like that's why the question he asked, right, is very general. That's why I wanted to understand which point of view is coming from.
Yep. Okay. So next, let's just move on to Jacqueline Lee. So Jacqueline would like to know, do you mean RBIC always have lower interest rate compared to fixed loan rate?
Not necessary. If you look back at the game tree just now, right, you notice the 3.3 and the 5.9 is quite close already one. So the best is still to understand, right? That's why we wanted to share this method with you so they can do it for yourself to really understand the total interest you're paying. Is it lower overall or not? Because I've seen some car loan, the fixed rate can go down as low as 2%. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't buy car a lot lah, so I wouldn't know. Yeah, so if it's 2% compared to 5.9, then the fixed line interest calculation could be more beneficial.
I see.
Gao,
Okay.
that's in fact one thing I want to point out lah. Maybe you can have you can look at it in a different perspective because when we compare like the total mortgage total interest that we pay, I
Yeah.
think that numbers is a little bit misleading lah, because what we see is because when you add up all the interest you pay over the years, because it's happened at different period of time, right? So different period of time, different date, different month, the value of money is different. So let's say you pay more interest in the beginning and then you pay less interest in the end, or you pay less interest in the beginning and then you pay more interest in the end, then it all come back to different value, right? So why not we compare the effective annual rate, the actual compound annual growth rate? That's a better comparison compared to the total interest we pay. Like a simple illustration would be like one loan is 10 years, another loan is 50 years. So even the lower rate interest on the 50 years, over 50 years, you total interest, of course, you are going to pay more than the 10 years one, right? Because it's longer. So if we compare the total interest, then it's not a fair comparison because the money we paid at different periods is different. So in that case, what I would actually compare is just the effective interest rate, right? Which one is lower and then which one is going to save you money? Because the money, if you don't use it to pay back the loan, the money with us and it can generate return elsewhere. So That's why I don't compare the total interest we pay. So so that's my thought on this.
Yeah, I think it's a good point as well because when you're talking about time value of money, right? Essentially, you're talking about opportunity cost, correct? Not?
Yeah.
When you don't look at the total interest because you find that your ability to use that money, you can actually invest somewhere else and generate a high return. I agree with you. It's just that I wanted to share this because a lot of people that I've spoken to, that's why I wanted to set the setting in this context, which is really coming from a debt point of view, right? Then naturally they need to know what is the best, or how do we look at that comparison, right? I definitely agree with you. The right way moving forward is really investment. I just find that when I spoke to a lot more people, definitely we need to encourage more people to take that step not to invest, to work the money harder.
Okay, let's handle more a question by the audience. There's so many of them.
Yep. So the next one will be Kennedy Buddha. So it says, are the published rates for mortgages by banks negotiable?
Yes. What do you think?
Actually, I never tried before negotiating outright when we are applying for the loan, but I know you can get the bank to do a review for you, especially let's say you are with the bank for 4-5 years already, right? And you are on a BLR plus interest rate, right? You get the bank to review for you. Basically, they can get you to on the latest type of interest rate mode, right? Which is the BR plus, which is significantly lower. So from that standpoint, yes, in a sense, you can negotiate with the bank. Or what about your experience, Casey?
I think technically, of course, it sounds like negotiable, but it feels like negotiable because say bank offer you a rate and then you have another bank offer you a lower rate, then you go to bank A, say I like you more, but your rate is higher, so I have to go with bank B. But then bank A say, okay, you like me more, okay, never mind, we match the rate, then you come back to me. So isn't that negotiable, right? It feels like negotiable, isn't it? Yeah.
So it comes back to how badly the bank wants your business as well, right?
Yeah.
True.
And also the loan amount. Like if you borrow a lot, like you say, you borrow 100,000, you want to negotiate, they most likely don't entertain you. You're just a small loan, but you are like borrowing like 2 million, 3 millions, or like some corporation, they borrow like 10 millions and more. They will have a different rates.
True. Especially if you're a high net worth individual as well, right? Then they will want to retain you more and they probably give you a better rate.
Or you are the bank premier customers. That means you already have a few 100,000 with them. So they know you have that money to pay off anytime. Then they don't mind charge you a lower rate.
Yep.
All right. So with that, let's move on to the next question. Madhavan would like to know, reducing balance, reducing RBIC, is it affected by regular OPR increase by BNM? So the answer is yes lah. But Kaho, any add-ons to this?
I think the RBIC so happen most of the time is tied to loans which are variable. So it's really the loans that are variable that are affected by the regular OPR increase. Right? If you find something like a reducing balance loan, like I think AIA offer rate, which is a fixed rate loan, right? Then that is not affected by the government. Yeah, so that's why I wanted to clarify that different calculation, right? Because a lot of people already, the understanding is that, oh, this is a variable, then it's RBIC. But it may not be, right?
There are definitely fixed rate loan. So for example, like from the bank's perspective, when they lend you money, so they lend you, okay, let's say you have two choices. One is fixed rate and one is the OPR floating, right? So if the floating rate if you take the floating rate one, normally it will be less, a little bit less than the fixed rate one, because they encourage you to take the floating rate one, so that when it goes up, they can charge you more, right? Usually the case. Yeah.
I see, I see. Actually, speaking of AIA, the fixed loan thing, right? So is it like, I mean, like in general, for Malaysians, you can only get two property loans. I mean, residential properties in Malaysia lah, for the first two property at 90%. So if you get it from AIA and it's from an insurance company, so is this two rules thing still apply, or you kind of like, how will you say, you kind of like you can actually get 90% loan from the first two from the banks, then the third one you get it from AIA or something like that.
I think the last time before the insurance company appear on Secris, you still can do that. But what I heard recently, or what I heard, the changes have been applied to the insurance company that they have to be captured in Secris as well lah. So as a result, you can't do that loophole anymore.
So that means it's capture. Last time might be, right? At first,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah, last time you could get the third property loan in AIA, but now because AIA will appear in Secris as well,
So they
then
also report to.
yeah,
I also report to Secris. Okay.
correct.
Eventually, all the loophole, they know the authority try to close it lah, right?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
at first it might work. Yeah.
Good question, by the way.
Yeah. Good one.
All right. So the one would be Alex Wong. Alex Wong says, if you already have a car loan, is it worth it to explore getting a personal loan, or is it on a personal loan but on a RBIC to settle car loan? They got such. But the first thing
Normally,
is that got such a thing as IC for personal loan.
yeah, just now what I shared, the Bank Islam one is RBIC personal loan. Yeah, but I think to answer the
Okay.
question, right, I don't normally suggest, because if you've gotten the car loan already, if it's a fixed line interest calculation, the interest will already been calculated into the loan rate. So it doesn't really make sense for you to restructure the car loan unless you're buying a new car lah. So that's why when I first bought my car, I didn't get the conventional car loan. So I put it into my housing loan, right? Then I will actually save some quota lah, right? So I'm able to manage that repayment, and I was able to manage the interest also lah. So I think if you want to do that, then you have to be very mindful that the interest that you're paying, ultimately you're still saving compared to the conventional car loan, and the installment is something that you can manage, not. Yeah. Just to answer the question.
Yeah. So what I think in that case will be, it all depends on the interest rate lah.
Correct.
So if your car loan is at a high interest rate, not because every car different. So it's like Ian recently want to buy, he bought already, right? He bought the Honda Civic, which is the old Honda Civic, and then the bank have to charge him more than 7% effective rate. So if you have a personal loan that we can take that is less than that effective rate, let's say 4 or 5%, like just now shown on Bank Islam, right? They have something less than 5%. And it's even unsecured. You don't have to use your car to secure it, right? Then probably it will work. It might save you money in the long run instead of just getting the bank's offer that's charging you 7-8%.
Right. Okay. So next one by Madhavan again. So Madhavan would like to know, will you consider reducing your monthly home loan installment? So, okay, let me just read lah. If you are considering to reduce your monthly home loan installment, would it be advisable to approach my current bank or acquire with another bank?
How? I guess the question would be, let's say your installment is 2,000 and you try to reduce it to 1,000. So what are the ways to do it, right? Isn't it? So Carl might have some
So
insight on this.
the reason why I wanted to share this is that I think the experience that I met a lot of people trying to reduce their housing loan installment, when we look into their financial institution, actually we could reduce more of their credit card and the personal loan. That it will be more substantial. Because as I was sharing just now in the IBR, right, housing loan tends to be one of the lowest, the not so burdening loans, right? So normally we don't go into that. But if really like Madhavan, his only loan is a housing loan, my suggestion was to go back to their current existing bank first to ask for a review on that loan to see whether the interest, probably he's paying those BLR plus, which is my ERA one, right? Then potentially he could save and reduce the installment, right? Because normally if you were to try and reduce the installment for a housing loan, they only do it for you if you're doing a restructuring. Restructuring means to say they will put something on your secrets that says your loan is restructured, and potentially you will have difficulty taking more loans in the future. Yeah. So for housing loan, the best way is to revise the interest. Yeah.
Or another way, if of course revise the interest is the best case, right? You want to be reduced. That means you ask the bank, hey, you earn less lah. Charge me less lah, earn less, please. So if they're okay, well, that's the best case, right? Then if not, then you can lengthen your loan. No? That means if you, let's say your outstanding is 100,000, but you are remaining 5 years to pay it off, then you can just stretch it a little bit, 10 years, 20 years. Then your installment will come down. Also workable.
Okay. So with that done, the next one would be from Lim Choi Yin. So Lim Choi Yin would like to know, should we refinance our housing loan if the interest rate has been going up for the past 2 years? And how to go about it?
Yeah, I think this question quite similar to Madhavan one, because if you try to refinance to other loan, you're already having that competitive loan package, which is BR plus, right? Even if you go to other bank, the OPR increases over the last few years, the other bank also will increase their OPR. I think the answer to Choi Yin's question is that if your package has been the older generation package, like my generation, the BR plus, right, and you're paying so much higher interest, then yes, you can actually go back to your current bank first to ask them to review before you refinance to another bank. Because normally refinance, the cost is higher. So my suggestion is to go back to your current bank first.
All right. So Arif Wahab would like to know, have you heard about FIS, which is Future Interest Solution? Pay accurately on time to get 99% accuracy, which will shorten your loan duration and pay less interest. Your thoughts about Future Interest Solution by Arif Wahab.
I'm not sure whether this solution is the same solution I teach in my Double a Net Worth webinar, the 4-day webinar, because I also teach this interest optimization strategy for some of my students who've been getting how they double their wealth and how they increase their net worth, right? So yeah, I'm not sure whether it's the same thing or not, but basically if you're talking about the same thing, the idea here is about using the reducing balance interest, right, and paying based on either additional optimized loan installment, right, so that you pay 50% less interest over the period of time, right? Or you could leverage on the fact that you pay a higher frequency. So instead of like you're paying on a once a month basis, right, you can actually split it into weekly payment and save interest on that case if your loan is actually a daily rest kind of calculation. Yeah, but it's quite technical. We can explore more on that if there are more questions on this. Can share more on that.
Okay.
Have you heard of it, Casey?
I heard of this kind of service. where they charge you a few thousand ringgit just to come up with a plan. So my opinion is that you might as well use that few thousand ringgit to pay off your mortgage. Then you get the saving instantly. You don't have to pay somebody to tell you how to pay.
Okay. All right. So with that, let's move on to the next one. Lawrence, am I eligible am I eligible for loan if I got only rental income and share dividends?
This one is still a very wide question. What do you think, Casey?
I think banks want to see you have the money, or you have the capability of making that money. So you just have to show them, your rental income is so much. You have 100 properties, and then you are getting 100,000 of income every month. Oh, why not I lend money to you? There's no reason I shouldn't lend money to you. So it all depends, right? So basically, I think come back to the basic. Show that you have the money, or show that you can make the money. That's it.
Agree. I think the person is asking from the point of view if he got no employment income, no business income, and they're just relying on the rental income and dividend, right?
Mm.
Yeah, then agree with Casey. Basically, the bank really have to make sure that you are able to pay, right? If you can't pay, then it's going to be harder for them to give you the loan.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so with that, let's move on. So KM has a question, and his question is as follows. Referring to Casey's comment on proper comparison of interest rate using effective interest rate, may I know how do we do that sort of calculation? Casey, how to do that?
You can use the formula called rate in Excel or in Google spreadsheet. You types equals rate, and then when it show up rate, then it will ask you to enter the present value, the future value, the payment, which you have known, because if you use the PDS, product disclosure sheet, all those informations are already there, but the rate is misleading, right? So you want to pinpoint the rate. Then they already have all the information. You have the present value, which is the loan amount you take, future value, which is zero because you paid it off. Payment, it show you, so right on the tables, like the Bank Islam one, they already have the tables. Every month you have to how much you need to pay, and then what else? The term, how many years, right? How many months? So when you get that, when you use the formula rate RATE equals RATE, then the result you calculated is actually the interest rate per month. So if it is monthly basis, then it's per month. Then you have to times 12. Then it is almost very close to the rate published.
All right. So with that, let's move on to the next question. This one is by Swat Kim. Swat Kim would like to know, repayment home loan, is it advisable to pay double installment to get interest savings, or pay installment and accumulate amount at another source like FD and do early settlement? So it's from Swat Kim.
So for me, that's why I constantly invite people to come to our double net worth seminar, our webinar, because there's an optimized amount that we will advise people to pay extra if their cash flow allows it, than just purely paying one lump sum or paying double installment. What is that amount, right? Because like what Casey mentioned earlier, so there's this opportunity cost, right? I think in general, most Malaysians will want to pay off their housing loan as fast as possible. But if you don't continue to invest, there's no way you're going to move forward closer to a retirement goal. So that's why we employ like a very balanced approach. If you guys want, actually can share with you some of the articles that I've written in my blog before. So I've spoken about this before. What do you think, Casey?
For the examples what Kim put up, right? So you know that FD rate is still the product from bank, and then mortgage also from product from banks. So I don't think you will earn money from bank and to more than that more than the amount you pay them, right? So because it's bank, it's the same source of money, right? They take your money and lend it to somebody else. So how could they pay you more for FD and lend other people and charge them less, right? They'll be losing money doing that business. So they are not in that kind of business. So in your example, it cannot work because FD rate, definitely it will be lower than the mortgage rate, right? So this is logic, isn't it? So, but what can work is that if you are a good investor, then it's a different story, right? So Kim, you can take that money, you invest in places that generate higher return than the mortgage rate. So let's say you, for example, you put in the stocks, earning you maybe 10% a year, then you are paying mortgage 4 to 5% a year, then you earn the extra. Then once you know how to do that, then the next level of thinking is that, why should I settle it, right? Because when I settle the mortgage, I don't have the stock anymore because I have to sell the stocks and settle the mortgage. So then you don't earn the difference anymore. Then there's no leverage. So I wouldn't do that as well. So in that case, the best is actually you keep your mortgage as long as possible because you still earn the difference all the time, right? So that's the logic behind that, Sokim. Hope this answer you.
All right. So next one, Alex Wong says, so if you use housing loan, do you use overdraft to settle the car in cash? Alex Wong.
Yeah, that's basically what I did.
Okay. Next one is that Muhammad Ismail would like to know, does requesting for mortgage rate review cost me anything?
Does requesting for mortgage review cost me anything? Not that I know of. Maybe only the loan agreement, no? If they really need to redo the loan agreement. Yeah, which is the minimum already, which is the minimum already compared to refinancing. Refinancing will probably cost you more.
Of course, you can decide after you get to know what's the fees involved, right? The processing fees, right?
Okay, so with that, let's move on. Kennedy Buddha, any apparent benefit to go for early settlement for both car loan or housing loan?
I think it will be immense for mortgage. If you can settle off, then you're debt free already. The feeling of being debt free, I think you can ask people over here, they can tell you it's very different, right? There's no burden anymore. A car loan, depending on the loan as well, if it's like the fixed line interest calculation, there's no benefit that if you pay off earlier, there's no savings in interest, then no point doing it. Just pay until the.
Actually, Carho they actually got rebate from early settlement for car loan. So they'll calculate it using the rule of 78.
Right?
Yes. There are some saving actually.
But that one is only applicable if you pay it early enough, but towards quite late to your loan, basically there's not much saving already.
We did a webinar on that. So it's basically a whale shape. So you settle it earlier, then it's better. You settle it at towards the end, usually the savings not much.
Agree.
Yep.
I guess I don't know I mean, maybe the dollar amount for car loan is smaller than housing loan. So practically speaking, between the two, right, you can choose to go with the car loan first. Not so much, even without the much savings, interest savings but then once you got the car loan cleared, right, it's like, suddenly you have like a few, it depends on what car you buy also it can be a few $100 in monthly cash flow that one could actually add on to your portfolio. Or if you happen to buy something which is beyond, which is in the thousands there, then of course, then the thousands can be very helpful All right, suddenly you have one or 2,000 extra that you can use every month for other purposes, I'm sure you'll feel very happy lah. So that will be the effect lah, I suppose, for settling the car loan first lah.
I think when it comes to the fundamental of money, right? Once you understand how all this works, like for me, there's no apparent benefit if I pay off my car loan and home loan early settlement. To me, there's no benefit. Is do more harms than benefit to me, right? Why? Because like if I settle some of the housing loan, I have to pay more tax on my rental income. I have to pay more taxes. So there's no apparent benefit for me. And then I have to, use my other monies, which I can generate better return to settle my mortgage. Then that means I earn less money. So also no apparent benefit. So to me, it's no apparent benefit. But to people, let's say you really don't know how to invest, you just put your money in FD, just keep it safe in saving account. Then the apparent benefit is, yes, you should pay it off because your money is not generating enough income to keep it with you, right? So why not settle the loan? You immediately earn the return.
Yeah, I agree. In fact, in our classes also, we tell people we do the early settlement is mostly for the house that you stay in. For investment property, we don't ask you to settle it because we want your tenant to help you to pay it off lah.
Okay, so with that, let's move on to the next question. Teh Bunwa. So again, third property borrowed from insurance company. Can we get 85% loan? Will you show in our secrets?
I think the question was asked already, right, about AIA.
Yeah.
It's the same answer, I guess. Now
Right.
AIA also report to secrets, so there's no escape for it.
No escape, right?
Yep.
Right?
Last time you say ING, but AIA took over ING already, so sorry lah.
Oops. So with that, let's move on to the final question. I think this one we have already covered. Chi Wong Siu. So Chi Wong Siu says, Casey, does it mean that it's better to put the extra money into the loan settlement rather than put into FD? So he already answered lah. All right. It's
Yes.
not into FD. It's not into loan settlement. If you know how to invest, better you invest that money, right?
I think the best will be, let's say you really don't know how to invest now, you don't know what to do with your money. So you have all your money in FD, most of it, right? So I don't want to push you like say, okay, now we go buy stock because you are going to lose money if you don't know what to do. So I think the better case is that you should get a flexi loan. Flexi loan. So flexi loan, that means your money put into the loan, you can take it out anytime. So once it's in the loan, you earn the return of that loan rate, right? Let's say the mortgage is 4.8, then you earn 4.8%, higher than FD. So once you know how to do the money, then you can take it out to invest.
Yeah, I think the other option will be a lot of people I see use their EPF2 account to pay off their housing loan. So if you don't necessarily need to use the EPF account to pay off your loan, my suggestion is don't lah, because the EPF account is much higher than your housing loan interest. So rather than you put in FD, maybe another consideration, if you really don't know how to invest, is to maximize your EPF contribution.
Yep. And these days, I mean to say everyone can actually put in like how much? 100K into the EPF already. So yeah, you can actually utilize that lah. All right. So that is actually a good way to actually use the money. And what else? What else? So I guess we cover all the questions in the Q&A. Let's see here. Oh, this one is a not so related question, but anyway, since everyone is a property guy, so here's what Chong Lee Ju would like to know is that if I plan to sell my condo, the earlier I sell, would earlier the sell be better, or should I wait for a better market price? Then only I sell. So it's a very generic question. What do you think?
to me, if your property is grade A, grade B, don't sell lah. You can hold it forever. If it's a grade C, grade D, the earlier the better law you sell. So what I mean by grade A, grade B is basically properties that have good capital appreciation, and if it's a positive cash flow property, then that's a cash cow. Don't sell it lah. But if it's a grade C, grade D, which is like never appreciate and is a negative cash flow, then sell it as fast as possible. Yeah.
Hmm. Okay.
Yep, agree.
All right. So Teh Boon Wah again. So I guess he's still a little bit confused. Personal mortgage loan interest same as company interest mortgage loan. Personal mortgage loan same as company
Oh,
interest.
that means use the companies to borrow mortgage, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Kaho, you have
Oh.
IHC. I think you know.
Not necessarily lah. I mean, it can be the same. It can be different as well. So it depends on the strength of your company as well. But one thing I noticed is the company loan don't have those full flexi loan like personal. So unless you really want to maximize your loan capability, then only you go to company lah. If not, then I don't see a reason why you go to company. Or for other reasons, like maybe wealth preservation, etc., etc. Yeah, that's why on a case-to-case basis. No?
Okay. Now let's see what else. What else is there? Okay, so Lai would like to know, KC, can you elaborate more on how you can lengthen the mortgage for better investment other than stocks?
Lengthen the mortgage that means if, like for me, I think the question would be if you don't want to pay off your mortgage, right? You want to have the loan forever, and then what do you do with your money, right? And then you say you don't want to invest in stock, so you must know how to invest in other places to generate more income. So to me, I invest in a few places only. Like first is properties. So property, the capital appreciation, at least inflation rate at least inflation rate. So 4-5% a year plus the rental. So if you don't get rental from your property, then you forego that return. So if you get another 4-5%, then property will be like 8-10% a year, right? So no, that's more than a mortgage rate. And then the other way will be I like to invest in business. Businesses means my own business. You know how much money you put in your business and how much return you can generate. So every business is different, and also other people's business, stocks. Stocks is businesses. We buy other people's businesses. That's it, right? Established businesses that's proven to work, and they have transparent figures to show you. So that's where I go hunting for business.
Okay.
Very simple, isn't it?
Yeah, simplify. Don't complicate.
MK Cool would like to know, do you suggest to sell a property that has 50% coverage on return on investment? Not too sure what it means. And currently the property price doesn't appreciate much. All right, any thoughts on MK Cool's question?
50% coverage on ROI, what does it mean?
Maybe it's improved 50% already, appreciate 50% already.
Oh yeah, probably right. I think Gaho interpret it correctly. That means you appreciate 50%. So you got back 50% of money lah. Is that what he means?
Possible.
Not sure, but anyway, just see what are your thoughts about this comment or question lah. Then from there, don't know, maybe try do something out of it.
You want to go first, Casey?
Do you suggest to seal a property?
to sell.
To sell, is it? Oh, to sell. I was like, see, okay, what's it? Oh, to sell a property. That already make the money. Okay. Oh, then that does not appreciate much already. So when we decide to sell something, so you got the money, and then you have to do something with the money, right? So most people just look at this before part, before you sell, but they don't think of after you sell, right? So I think after you sell, decide whether you want to sell or not. Because when you sell it, then your money, what do you do with it, right? Are you going to invest in other properties? Better opportunity, better than this one? Then why not sell? Sell lah, because you got better opportunity, then you sell lah. If you want to make more money, or are you going to use that money and spend it all? You want to splurge on yourself, buy a boat or anything. So if that's what you want, okay, can sell also. So I think we cannot answer you because you don't tell us what is after you sell. Right? What do you want to do after you sell? So I cannot compare. How do I know?
Okay. So I guess at this rate, right, we can actually we have actually answered all the questions posted by our attendees. So I would like to thank everyone for attending this session, and I would like to thank Kaho for your generous time and sharing on KC Lao's platform. But before I let Kaho go, KC, first and foremost, what are we going to do next week?
The first thing I think I want to say is, how do my followers get to follow you, right? Where do they contact you? You know, if they want to attend your course or anything. So, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
Yeah, I just share my screen just to quickly finish up my slides now. Because I wanted to summarize it and then talk about the part. So in summary, basically just now this is a 6-step process, right? Find out where the problem is, zoom into the problem, work out a strategy, which we covered, reduce the monthly installment, reduce the interest, and streamline our finances. I think this is the question that I wanted to also share with everyone. I think because we covered some IceJar, the world's simplest money management system. So they can actually go into our website. We currently have this for free, right? They can go through that. And then in case of, I think there's a lot of questions today we're asking what to do in my current situation, right? If this in this. So I think for those of you who are ready, then they can actually go on to this financial compass. Basically, those are the tools that we use, just how we actually capture Jason's situation. From there, then we'll be able to answer your question in a better perspective. Because right now, we don't know your situation. Obviously, we cannot give an accurate answer, right? So we basically have this roadmap we would like to invite people who are ready, who are serious, right? And of course, we also have our newsletter, right? Thank you to Casey. I think as a result of appearing in your webinar so many times, I think now is probably the 4th time, right? So we've got people benefiting after they sign out our newsletter as well. We have our webinar, our monthly community webinar, and our DYN double net worth preview, so that when they're ready, then they can take on that roadmap. Yeah. So I'm on LinkedIn and I'm also on Facebook. Feel free to connect. Yeah. Hope that today's session really benefited you guys.
Awesome.
All right. So, yep.
All right. Back to what we are going to do next week, right? Okay.
Yes.
We have 2 potentials, so we haven't decided which one to go with. So stay tuned for that. Definitely, we will have a webinar next week. So stay tuned in our emails list so that you can get the announcement every. I think we usually send out on Saturday, and also you can follow our Telegram channel where we do the announcement there as well, and also the Facebook page.
All right. So with that, thank you so much, Kaho. Any last imparting words for us when it comes to debt management stuff?
Yeah, as always, thank you very much for having me on the show. I wanted to just get everyone, if you guys really benefited from today's sharing, would appreciate you guys to help us to share this with many more